Hey guys, it's QuickyBaby and welcome back to World of Tanks, and today we've got the pleasure of watching Ryzen Yudonggain, wow, spot the anime fan there, playing in the tier 5 turreted American tank destroyer is the T-67. Now this vehicle almost needs no introduction. It's famous for being probably one of the best tanks tier for tier in the game, at least in my opinion. A seal clubber's wet dream, and it's very good for stat padding as well. Because it's got so many attributes that are just absolutely monstrous. Firstly, look at it getting into position pretty much as fast as that tier 7 French light tank there. With a top speed limit of 61 kilometers an hour forwards and 20 backwards, this thing shifts, and it's got a monstrous power to weight ratio. What is it to exactly? The power to weight ratio is over 31. It's pretty much a light tank, but it's got a really good gun. This 76mm doesn't have the best penetration, 128, and its alpha damage at 115 is rather low. But look at the rate of fire. This thing is firing 18.75 rounds a minute base, and when you get things like a gun rammer on it, good cruise skills. Doesn't look like Ryzen is going to be using vents on this tank because he's using binoculars and a camo net. And I'm not even sure if you can use vents on this vehicle considering it's open top. Then you're really pushing the DPM. It's got 2,156 base. That's as much as pretty much a tier 10 light tank. Although, then again, you know, 9.20.1, we are seeing some of the light tanks being buffed. If you want to find out more about that, check out one of my recent patch preview videos. And also, a lot of websites I should give, consider this a public service announcement, are saying that the patch is going to be next week. And so if you're trying to go for the FV215B, consider this your 1 week warning if you want to maintain that in your garage, or shall I say have the opportunity to have it in your garage post-patch next week as a reward vehicle. Now Ryzen managed to unload on the vehicles that tried to push around the west of Castle von Himmelsdorf, but gosh, already half of his team are just completely vanquished with 2 quick kills there from the SU-100 and the FV-3004. Now, what else are the highlights of the T-67? Well, it's actually got really good camo rating. It's low profile, it has a low caliber gun, which means that you don't lose much camo rating when you fire. Or what? That's probably an exaggeration. You still lose a lot of camo rating, but it's not as bad as some of the other vehicles that have larger caliber guns for this tier. And so I personally also like to take a camo net on this tank. It's absolutely beautiful, and with the fully traversable turret, you don't even have to deactivate it when you want to turn to engage your opponents. Ryzen kind of lulls at this stage of the game, but I think he was really expecting somebody to try and pop up on the hill there. But instead, now he's going to go after the VK3001H, unable to penetrate the side of the tank. Well, must have just hit the tracks instead of actually the side armor there, others would have killed. Now, while Ryzen's team is down by 6 tanks now, make that 5 tanks, quite a few of the vehicles on the enemy team seem to be a one-shot, so maybe there's a chance to come back here by taking out the tier 7 Chinese premium light tank. Oh no, Ryzen, not good there, failing to take out the Type 62, but manages to finish off that VK3001. Okay, now the Type 62 looks like maybe they're a little bit too overconfident here, being up 6 kills, and Ryzen punishes them. Now spots an M4 approaching from behind who seems to be using the derp gun. The derp gun misses, but so does Ryzen. And another tier 5 American tank, the T1 Heavy, comes, misses as well, and Ryzen punishes him with a great rate of fire. However, with 2 tanks behind him, he has to get out of there. The Stridsvagn 74 with that, I believe, 75mm gun. The Swedish tier 6 medium tank rips apart Ryzen's hit points, now down by a third, and that's because, wow, a low amount of hit points on this tank. 360 to be exact. Quite a few vehicles on the enemy team would one-shot him. The SU-100, for example, the GW Panther, the FV-3004, and when you've got absolutely no armor, 12.7 to be exact at the front side and rear of this vehicle, and barely any more on the front of the turret, yeah, it doesn't go a long way in the T-67. And so you have to use the strengths of the tank. You have to use the mobility, the turret, the camo rating, and the DPM to be able to vanquish your opponents. Now, there's no doubt that Ryzen he's basically rolled the dice a few times already in this gameplay, right? The M4 could have hit him with the derp. Goodbye all of their hit points. Maybe, alternatively, when what tank was it? No, the T1 Heavy that he killed maybe could have hit him as well. And if he was using the 76mm, then that would have been most of the hit points gone as well. Now, Ryzen actually fires a couple of high explosive rounds there at the GW Panther, I guess wanting to use them up because he might need all of the armor piercing and APCR rounds. The GW Panther misses him, and now he's going to pressure him. go right in while that tier 7 self-propelled gun is reloading. And oh no, these low rolls are really punishing Ryson right now. Well, actually, no, they weren't that low. But shuts them down, and FE304 appears. Oh god, Wargaming's ridgeline modeling not very good there as both shells whip into it. And Ryson punishes the tier 6 British self-propelled gun for his transgression and missing. So now Ryson changes his 1 versus 7 into a 1 versus 5, but with the self-propelled guns taken out, he's going to have to remove the remaining higher-tiered vehicles on the enemy team. First shot into the T-3485, who misses. Ryson just stands, hits, got to put another shell in. Oh, bad play there, actually, Ryson. You should have just sat there. You couldn't dodge the T-3485. You should have put that one in, should have remained calm and just made your aiming time full. But now Ryson actually shows some great awareness here to predict that somebody must be behind when you're in these 1 versus 5s. Now Ryson pops around, puts one into the M4. Will he be able to finish him off because the derp gun must be reloading soon? There you go. And this is where Ryson almost shows that they are a mystic. Knowing that the Stridsvagn 74 would be behind, the Stridsvagn 74 misses and Ryson punishes them. Now with 8 armor-piercing rounds and 2 APCR rounds left, is that going to be enough to take out 2 tier 6 tanks on the enemy team? Well, we're going to have to see. Not sure how many hit points they had. They have been spotted. The OI down below. Looks like Ryson is trying to use this location to spot, but unable to find them. I guess Ryson must be figuring that... There you go. There's the SU-100. Puts one into the tracks. The SU-100 misses. Ryson, you've got an opportunity here to put one in for free before the SU-100 reloads. If they're using the 122mm, not quite sure. Might be a dangerous game here. It does look like the 122mm. And Ryson realizes that the tier 6 Soviet tank destroyer must be reloaded now, and so decides to go on a flanking maneuver. Now the OI shows exactly where they are by entering the cap circle, and wow, look at this sneaky play. As soon as Ryson was no longer spotted, they do a 180, they turn the tank around, and remember, you've got a turret, the higher tier tank destroyer doesn't. Oh yes. Completely outplayed, and that's where the turret does come in handy, but it's not the turret that made the difference there in that engagement. It was just the knowledge of trick the enemy into thinking you're going one way, use the mobility of the tank to go the other, and slam dunk. Ryson turns a 1 versus 7 into a 1 versus 1. And what's so impressive about that was that most of the vehicles were higher tiered, right? Now Ryson says in chat, I can't do it, I don't have enough ammunition. So maybe Ryson knows more than I do. Maybe they know that the OI is on full hit points. Maybe they were consciously looking at that tier 6 Japanese super heavy while they were still spotted. Or maybe they're using some kind of modification. They are using some kind of XVM modification, so maybe that would be telling them what the hit points of the last spotted vehicles are. Something that I don't incorporate into my mod pack anymore. And I feel like sometimes it has to improve your awareness, but obviously situationally it can be rather useful. But we don't need a mod once you proxy spot the OI. 950 hit points. Now with 6 shells, that means that is 690 average damage. If you penetrate the high explosive round, maybe Ryson can do it, but penetrating that high explosive rounds can be very tricky. Wow, talk about high explosive rounds. The OI derps one right next to Ryson's tank, unable to damage. Good try there, I guess, by the OI to try and splash the shell round the corner, or maybe just missed altogether. Maybe they weren't thinking that one through. And Ryson realizing that the front of the OI is just too brutal, and even the back of the OI is very thickly armored, although it was recently changed, unable to go through the side. Now with 2 shots in, 3 shots in. Oh no, you're not going to be able to do it. 2 shells left in the tank. Oh, 1 armor-piercing shell. How's Ryson going to get out of this one? Oh. That's one way to get out of the situation. And Ryson just fires the high explosive, almost in celebration, like a firework of victory at the end of this game. What an incredible way to use a lower tiered tank against higher tiered opponents, and a fantastic 1 versus 7 carry. So Ryson unsurprisingly nails an ace tank here for 2,085 base experience points, a Kolobanov's medal, the one that everyone wants for standing alone against at least 5 opponents, in this case 7, a Pascucci's medal for the kills on those self-propelled guns, a Pulls medal for 11 kills over 2/3 of the enemy team, and a high caliber for 3,263 damage dealt, pretty much 3 times what a light tank, an auto-loading light tank 2 tiers higher than him, was able to achieve on his team. And also Ryson seems to be a free-to-play player, no premium consumables used here, and not too many premium rounds, so 16,600 credits profit, even without a premium account. So Ryson, congratulations to you on this absolute monster carry. Thank you for uploading it onto What Replays for the community to enjoy and just demonstrating why the T67 has to be one of the best tanks tier for tier in the game. And I hope all of you enjoyed this video. If you did, give it a thumbs up, I'd really appreciate it. And let me know in the comments down below, what do you think the best tank tier for tier in the game is? And let's also exclude all the premium tanks. And as always, thank you so much for watching. You've been epic, and hopefully I'll see you soon.